Good morning. How are you? How has your week been? As we've got this Venus retrograde, we're really being asked to go deep, deep inside. And for many of us, we're already starting to shed layers. We're already starting to strip back all that no longer serves us. And as I said, this first shedding will really prepare us to go into Lionsgate, which is coming rapidly around the corner. So those who are following the Lionsgate energy will start saying that the Lionsgate portal is starting to open. So it's really important that we are shedding the old layers of who we are to allow ourselves to truly receive these energy upgrades and to integrate them within our physical body. It's one of those things, it's like clearing out your wardrobe, you're clearing out the old energy, you're clearing out the old beliefs, the old patterns, in order to make way for whatever is going to be next. So you might go on a shopping spree and refill the energy of the wardrobe. We're refilling our physical and energetic body as well. So if you're feeling like you are riding a roller coaster, some days are good, some days are a little wobbly, that you're deeply questioning yourself, that you are really changing, shifting, moving, changing, just know it's just one of those processes that we are going to go through, say almost contracted to go through. But the one thing that's really come up through all this, the one thing that has really come to the forefront of my mind, particularly when I was walking around the woods this morning, or walking the dog, and really connecting into the energies of the land, connecting into the energies of my guides, and very, very blessed because Mary Magdalene has been around quite a lot this week. I did a feast day retreat for her, and her energy is just, it's always around, if I'm really honest, but it's been particularly strong over the past 7 days. When we're going through these periods of shifting, when we're going into these dark spaces where we are sifting through the rubbish, we're panning for gold, watching all the dirt fall out, where we're almost taking a pressure washer to everything that's going on. And as I'm walking around the woods, the words that came up are one, compassion. This is a big theme over the weekend, but being compassionate to ourselves and compassionate to others, regardless of the choices that they've taken. But the big theme that was really coming up is sacred self-care. And sacred self-care doesn't mean immersing yourself in a rose petal bath full of essential oils. It can. But what it really means is, how are you looking after yourself physically? How are you looking after yourself energetically, spiritually, and emotionally during these turbulent times? We all have ways of doing it differently. But when we're in the process of change, when we're in this transformative energy, there is this desire to get to the end, to wrap it all up, put it in a box and go, yeah, pass that initiation. That's great. Put it in a box, file it away. I've learned from it. We're going to go through the washing machine cycle for a little bit longer. We don't want to push. We don't want to rush towards the end of it. What we have to do is plan. This is a journey. You have to plan for it. Where are your stops to refuel? Where are your stops to get a drink, have a snack? Where are your places to rest and just to be? And what we're really being asked to do is to look at this journey ahead of us. Look at the spike in energy that we're about to experience as we're going into Lionsgate, and then look at the rebirth energy that's going to come in September. Where are your points of sacred self-care? Where are you going to stop? Where are you going to rest? And the message that was coming through, particularly for those of us who are fire signs, who like to get things done, who like to burn through, trailblazing, we can't expect to do everything really, really quickly. We are working so hard. And as I say, these fire signs, this desire to achieve, this desire to get ahead of the curve. We've done so much of that already. We are already ahead of the curve. And when I've been channeling, it's a real distinct feeling that we are well ahead of where we're meant to be, or where it was planned or decided or thought that we were going to be. It's because we've worked so hard. And we've cranked that volume up, and we've kept raising our frequency and kept raising our frequency. We can keep doing that, but we will end up in a little place of burnout. We will end up really frazzled and exhausted. What we need to do at the moment is just take that step back, let others take our place, but take that step back to get back into self, to allow these energies just to settle, to do what they need to do. And then we can forge ahead again. There's this great desire, isn't there, just to keep forging, keep going ahead, keep pushing, keep integrating our practices, keep doing. It's all about doing. And that's very much the human aspect of self. What we're being asked to do, particularly over the summer, and it feels weird. We're in the height of summer, we should be at the height of our energy, but actually we're being asked just to take that step back. And Mary was really clear that it is, taking that journey, taking those steps forward, but then nurturing self, looking after self so you can continue along the path, because we're already taking this journey at a hell of a lick. It's almost like we've started to learn to run. So we've done that kind of walk, jog. And now we've got into a really steady rhythm. And then we've gone up the next level and we're kind of almost at that sprinting stage where we're constantly going. So what we need to do to make sure that we maintain our integrity, to make sure that we sustain our physical bodies and not let our nervous system get jangled, but not let our energy system get jangled as well, is taking that time just to be. Taking that time to know it's okay to switch off your phone, switch off your laptop, go and lie in the garden, soak up some of those light codes that are coming through. Take that time to go and walk your dog, to stand amongst the trees, to place your hands on your heart. Taking time out of your day just to be outside and ground if you can. Even when we're working in offices and we're spreading our light there, that can be incredibly stressful. Can you get out at lunchtime and just take a few breaths? Could you have to do what I used to do in the corporate world and lock myself in the loo for 5 minutes and just do some deep breathing, ground myself, center myself? Imagine that while I was sat on the loo seat, that I was in a forest, that I was grounding my energy, that I was loved, that I was supported, and that my energy was truly my own and wasn't being scattered everywhere. So what are you doing along this journey? And as I was walking around the woods, as I kind of heard birds singing, it was quite bright this morning as well, huge amount of light coming through the trees. And the question that came up is, what is your true resistance to rest? And that's a really, really deep question, and I can't answer that for you, but what is your resistance to stopping and being? And I can feel it even now. There's this huge resistance. I am 3 fire signs, so I am Aries. What am I? Aries sun, Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius moon. Lots of fire, lots and lots of drive, lots of desire to achieve and get to that next point, to seek the recognition. But that's my human self. My energetic self is just crying out to say, whoa, stop. So what is your resistance to rest? My resistance is because I don't like being bored. I feel like I'm not doing something, I'm not achieving. I am not learning, I'm not growing by just being. I find it incredibly difficult to switch off. So that's my shadow that I need to work through this Venus retrograde, is what is my resistance to rest and why can't I rest? So really dig into yourself. What is your resistance to stopping and being? Because we are human beings, we're not human doings. And what's coming up for you? What does it make you feel like when someone just says, just stop doing something? Don't read any more books. Just go out, lie in the garden, just for half an hour. And then ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen if I stop, if I rest? And we're not to worry about our progression into ascension, be it personally or collectively, because that's still ongoing. That you can't fight on the front line for years and years and years without resting. We're all guilty of it. All of us, everybody is really, really guilty is probably quite a strong word, isn't it? But we all drop into that place where we want to push through this ascension process. We want to achieve what we can spiritually as a soul, as the leaders of the new earth that's coming through. So just really drop that into your heart and really ask your heart this week, what is my resistance to rest? Why can't I rest? What sacred self-care can I commit to this week to allow my bodies, to allow my energies to integrate, to rest, to take a break? Everything is still going to go on around you. No one is going to mark your card and go, oh, I remember on the 27th of July 2023, you took a break. You weren't working for Ascension. It's not what it's about. No one is going to criticize you. No one is going to berate you or castigate you for taking a rest, be it physically in this environment that we're in a 3D reality, or in the spirit world. Source isn't going to criticize you for taking a rest because you're working, try not to swear, very hard at the moment. So just feel that resistance bubbling up, and can you breathe through it? Can you drop into your heart? And then what can you do to commit to sacred self-care this week? And for some of us, yes, it can be a bath, going to get your nails done. But most of all, it's really about being outside. It's being in nature for me. It's about grounding my energy, laying on the earth, just being in the garden. So my commitment to myself this week is to at least have half an hour during lunchtime outside, not being at my screen, to allow my energies to rest, to integrate. And then I've promised myself an evening off as well, to do nothing other than just be, to do what I feel like I want to do, to not read a book, to not watch anything on YouTube, just to do what I want. That is the way that we're going to truly look after ourselves. So our energies are feeling quite frazzled. And particularly if you are diving deep through this Venus retrograde, you are going to be feeling it. Maybe not now, maybe at the weekend, maybe in a few weeks' time. It's that remembrance of coming back to sacred self-care, of looking after ourselves. If we don't look after ourselves, we can't move forward. And the number of people who, may have got things, just niggles going on with them because they're not resting, they're not stopping. So I shall end my sort of Wednesday sermon there, but drop into your heart. What is your resistance to self-care? If you're diving deep for this Venus retrograde, if you're feeling the shadow coming up, if you're going through stuff in your life, whether it's Venus related or not, when are you going to stop? When are you going to look after yourself? What's the resistance to coming up if you were just being and not doing? And what can you commit to look after yourself over the next few weeks, but also for the rest of the year as well? Because these energies, they're going to ramp up for Lionsgate. There's the equinox still to come, the Samhain, 9/9/11/11. I always find a really, really strong portal. And then we're into that kind of exciting period of the 12/12 portal, and then straight into those solstice energies as well. So there's a little let up in the energy. We may have a little fallow period in the autumn, but what are you going to do to sustain yourself? What are you doing to sustain your physical body, your emotional body, your energetic body, but also to feed your spiritual body as well? So I'm going to leave you to think about that. I love to hear your comments as to what you're going to commit to progress on your spiritual path by resting. So if you have a moment, if you could like, comment, subscribe, I'd be really, really grateful. And I look forward to speaking to you next week. Sending you so much love. Take care.